mental presence.
All right, it is Wednesday. It is noonish. I forgot to bring this all the way down to me, so I'm just like reaching for the microphone at this point. I'm your host, Don Smith. You're listening to the Life Radio Show. My guest co-host for the week is none other than the amazing, the fabulous Mike Shea.
Fabulous
from the Eventide Entertainment Podcast Network, and Mike Talks Funny, and I think that's the name of your podcast too.
It is, yeah. It's life mimicking art, art mimicking life.
Yeah, see, that was pretty funny right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm hysterical. I should say words.
Just random words. Just say random things into a microphone.
Bowling ball. Yeah, people just laugh.
That's fantastic. I'd have never thought of bowling ball. Anyway, how have you been, sir? It's been a little while since you've been in, like a couple weeks or something like that. I don't.
God, I'm in here a lot lot No, I've been good, man. How about you?
Well, I've been lazy lately, so I haven't been booking good guests. I just keep no. We actually have a good show coming up today. We have the fabulous Mike Shea in here.
Absolutely.
Hoping to get a call here in a bit from Krish Mohan and. What else? Aaron Phillips is going to be coming on in the next hour to talk about the
King of the Oregon District.
The mayor of the Oregon District. Yeah, and he's going to tell us about his street show in front of Feathers Vintage Clothing. It's coming back. It's coming back this Friday.
Is it really?
Is it really?
Already?
Yeah, it is. And if it's it's not really weather permitting. If the weather's bad, they'll do it inside the store. But
see, that's the one I've never understood.
There, if you've ever been to Feathers, there is no room in that store.
But when I heard there was a comedy show at Feathers on the street, I was like, I could see that working. And then when he said, yeah, well, if the weather's bad, we do it inside, I just kind of looked at it and was like, how?
Well, he used to do it inside the store.
Because I've been in Feathers several times. My brother loves shopping in there. And we went in there Christmas shopping one day. And I remember walking around looking like, how the hell does Aaron do a comedy show in here? I can't move right now. Now, granted, I'm a large individual, but still,
they move a lot of stuff.
I guess, yeah.
Because he actually, when he first started them, he was doing them out in the back, behind the store. But there were a few neighbor complaints.
They're out there saying curse words.
I don't know why. I mean. Surely a bunch of stand-up comics having a big party in your backyards can't be that bad.
I mean, it's going to be entertaining for one, but like you live in downtown Dayton. Like this can't be the worst thing going on outside your apartment right
I would
now.
think not. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe the people calling to complain is they were back there ODing and it kept waking them up. This comedy show's worse than Narcan. Anyway, I had a couple good shows this past weekend. The Cry for Help shows at Wiley's Saturday night. They were a lot of fun.
Scotty Mays, is Dale on that one?
Dale books and hosts.
Dale
Cry for Help.
Scotty Mays. Who else is on that?
The first show Saturday night, Scotty Mays headlined. The second show, Ransom Carr headlined. Man. And they had music from Catfish Carr. Which,
of course.
Good blues tunes, and it was a lot of fun. I did 10 minutes on both shows. So.
Look at you! You've been going up a lot more lately.
A couple times anyway. Yeah. It's about time.
Well, you don't go up for 6 months. Sooner or later, everybody starts to wonder, like,
what happened? No, yeah.
No one's ever really they can say they're done.
I'm done after every show. Because I actually stopped doing comedy twice Saturday night. After the first show and then again after the second show. I was like, I'm done with this.
Not doing this.
But no, they were great shows. They really were. I'm really Nick Taylor. I don't know if you've seen Nick Taylor go up in a while. I see
him every Monday at Ollie's.
Well, yeah, there you go. So you know how much when he first came around to the area and started doing comedy, I thought he was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I really hadn't seen him up for a while because I haven't been out to many shows, and he went up both shows Saturday night and blew me away. He's got some great stuff.
He's so good.
He's fantastic. I was very impressed.
It's the man bun.
No, I was impressed regardless of the man bun.
No, I'm saying the man bun is the source of power.
Oh, it can't be.
It's like an antenna. I know, because I don't want to admit that, but
no, it can't be.
because I'm never going to have enough hair to have a man bun. So
you're saying the man bun is like a comedy antenna?
Yeah, he's got an antenna hidden in there, and someone's feeding him funny, and it's going in and into his brain, and that's where he's getting it from.
Next time he's up there, I'm gonna have to check. I'm just gonna have to run on stage and just undo his man bun real quick and see if that antenna's up there, because there could be something to that.
He came back from a vacation with his girlfriend, and I guess she had braided his hair. So to see him walk into Ollie's sans man bun, but with like just these Star Wars Jedi braids going down, it was pretty awesome.
Sorry, I just noticed they have the light for the phone covered up. So if a call came in, I wouldn't know, because it wouldn't be flashing like it's supposed to be.
That's the opposite of helpful.
It is. But that's that's okay. We'll press on.
We'll press on.
Even if the phones don't work, because I mean, what's the likelihood of that happening? Right. We've never had technical difficulties in the studio here at all. So
I've never been on a show that wasn't actually broadcasting at one point. No.
Right. Well, I think we've always broadcasted somehow, so far as I know. I mean,
really?
We've had issues where we couldn't play.
The
songs. We've had issues where it wasn't broadcasting over the online feed, but we've always gone out to the fantastic handful of listeners we have.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so
much. Please keep listening.
So what's going on new with you?
Ooh, man, a lot, really. As you know, you were a part of it. I just finished shooting on a short film called Monarch that Don and several other great comedians here in town,
and a few okay ones,
myself included. Then there's me. Helped work on it. I cut together kind of a condensed 5-minute version for a short film festival at my alma mater down in South Carolina, which that's next week. I'll be going down for that. And then we've got a 20-minute version that I'm editing and scoring right now that is going to be premiering at a film premiere event at the Neon in downtown Dayton. They're letting us rent it out and just kind of do what we want with it for the night, as long as we don't break anything.
No, yeah, don't break the theater.
They specifically said, like, you have to leave it the way you found it. And I'm like, well, can you not clean it before I come in? That way I have an excuse.
Well, you don't have to clean a thing.
But that's coming up Thursday, May 17th. We're putting together a trailer and posters. We're working on all that stuff right now. After I submitted the short version to the film festival, I kind of took a break. I didn't touch anything, because I had speed edited this film together over the course of like 4 days.
Right.
And so after I got done with that, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm not going to touch it again for a week. So.
All right. Well, as you can tell, we're getting the call. So
I can see it, yeah.
Let's see. This is The Life. You're on the air.
Hey, how's it going? This is Krish.
All right. Hey, this is Don Smith. Krish Mohan joining us on the air.
How's it going?
All right. You hear us okay?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Every now and then we have some technical issues here in the fantastic studio.
So, I hear you. the DIY world, right?
Yeah, there you go. I gotta wear we all have to wear several hats when we come into the studio to broadcast. So.
Yeah, I know that game. Yeah, that's usually the fun of doing DIY shows, is sometimes you're the door guy, the performer, and the sound tech all at once.
Yep, there you go. Well, we have a technician here, and he's usually a very busy man, so I try not to bother him. So how's it going? You have a couple of shows coming up here in the area?
Yeah, we're going to be touring through the Midwest, sort of the conclusion of the tour that Andrew Frank and I have been doing since January. Called the Anti-Imperialism Nationwide Comedy Takeover.
That's a great title.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. It sums up everything that we talk about on stage. So.
Okay. Well, it's good you can sum it all up in one phrase like that.
Right. Yeah. So we've just been on the road since January, touring all across. We went down south into the Midwest a little bit, and then we were just recently in the Northeast. So we're concluding the tour with Muncie, Dayton, Indianapolis, and Edwardsville, Illinois.
That does kind of sound appropriate, like the end of things. Just in, it's a good place to just end it.
Yeah. It has a nice finality to it.
Yeah.
You know, if there are 4 cities that you want to end some stuff in, that's the place to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like Dayton. I've been through Dayton a few times. It's always been they've always been fun shows.
Yeah, where's your show at coming through?
It's at the South Park Tavern on April 19th.
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly where it was. I knew it was one of those. I haven't been there in a while, I don't think. But
yeah, the last time I was there was in September, and something happened with their pizza oven, and it was like, whoa, and they had to fix their pizza oven. But I think I was talking to the owner, and he was telling me how much like some of the contractors charged them, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I can definitely.
Yeah.
we had to put a grease trap in the in at Wiley's. About a month or so ago, and it was not a fun bill to have to pay.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think some people, like especially artists that come into certain venues, and it's like, oh, why are you taking 30% of the door, or why are you charging me $150 to perform at your venue, or what have you? And it's like, well, that kind of keeps the building there.
Right.
So maybe we should take that into account. But I think sometimes you forget because, you're on the road so much, or you're just excited about trying to turn your art into a full-time job that it just escapes your mind that other people also have expenses just like you do.
Oh, yeah. And how?
Right. Yeah, like I definitely used to do that when a couple of years ago when I was touring through. It was like, I just don't understand why they're taking 30% of the door and the drink money. This is ridiculous. Completely absurd.
Those crooks. That door money's mine. No, but...
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just some stuff that it's like, oh yeah, the grease trap can go out, and that can cost $200, and
I wish.
Yeah, well, a couple hundred is on the low end, I guess.
It was a couple thousand on that one, because they had to put a new one in. They had to put the whole thing in and dig through the concrete floor for about 4 hours worth of jackhammering. So it was a pleasant day. Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty intensive. I just moved into a new house in December. Not a new house. It was, the house existed. My landlord like renovated it, and and me and my fiance kind of went into it being like, okay, well, that we're kind of testing the house for the first couple months to make sure like things are operational. And like the first couple of months of moving it anywhere, we ended up figuring out, because of all the snow that we experienced in the first 2 months of living here, that there is there's definitely a leak in the chimneys that we got fixed, and there was also like our gutters were clogged with the tennis ball. Don't know how that got there.
That almost sounds like sabotage right there. I don't know. How do you accidentally, either that or you're just really talented to hit that tennis ball up into the gutter like that.
Yeah, it's how did that even get up there? But our landlord has one of the guys that fixes up the house properties for our landlord is like, he's just the sweetest guy, and he comes over and he was like, well, your chimneys are leaking, so I'm going to go in there and fix your chimney and then redo part of your roof. Oh, also, there's a tennis ball in the gutter. So
you're going to want that back?
Explain why there's bubbles in your wall.
Is that a double fault? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, the ball boy missed that one. He didn't run fast enough.
Went way out. Way out.
Yeah. So
you're not going to see that in Wimbledon.
Yeah, that's probably not. So, hey, back to comedy. How long have you been performing comedy?
About 12 years. It's going to be 13, not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday. So April 15th, it'll be 13 years.
Wow. And what got you started? I always like to find out how people get started, because mine was just like, hey, let me do this.
Yeah.
And other people are like, well, my friend said do this. So
it's a little of both. I was 16, just about 16, and so there was just a high school talent show coming up, and I have a lot of friends that are in like bands, or they were just like acoustic singer-songwriters in high school. So they told me that I should try out for this talent show, and I was like, I don't have a talent that I can show people. So they were, my buddy Derek was like, well, do those jokes. Like, you have these funny stories about your mom and your family and stuff. Like, go and do that. So I went home and I wrote 8 note cards worth of different jokes. And I went up and I auditioned, and they basically told me, like, I got in, but they told me, like, there's, like, you can't win the talent show. Like, you can't be part of the contest because we have nothing. We don't have a barometer for comedy. Like, you're the only person that's doing it. So in my head, I'm like, you're the only person stupid enough to do comedy.
Right.
Like,
yep, nobody else would do that.
Yeah. Everybody else is like, singing songs and dancing and doing, theatrical renditions, and you're up there being like, here's my thoughts and opinions and feelings that are attached to who I am as a human being.
Yep, laugh at them and make me feel terrible or good. Yeah,
validate me, please.
So yeah, it does take a special kind of idiot to do comedy, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the same backstory as me. It'll be 13 years for me in October, and I got started doing high school talent shows, and they tell you pretty much right up front, like, you're probably not going to win if you enter this. We still want you to do it, but you're probably not going to win.
Yeah, we still want you to embarrass yourself.
Right. So I just did I did they asked me to do 3 5-minute sets in between some of the band changes, which was fine. And I didn't have 15 minutes. I kind of had 10 minutes. I definitely didn't have 15. And, we had some time, and I was trying to figure out, like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't have another 5 minutes of material. So I just went on stage and just kind of recounted this conversation I had with my dad about going to school for graphic design, and how much of a disappointment it was for him that I was going like this non-traditional route. So I just did that with the Indian accent for 4.5 minutes, and it's the only standing ovation I've ever received in 13 years of comedy.
That's funny.
That's it.
So you are Indian, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was born in India. I moved here when I was 8.
Oh, okay. Well, my wife is Indian, so I know, me being not Indian, I know about their disappointment in going a non-traditional route.
I'm glad you cleared that up. I thought he was just telling a joke in an Indian accent, and I'm like, that's racist.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, I do, because it's my father-in-law's voice. So.
But just for me to hear, like, I was at a talent show and I did a joke in an Indian accent and got a standing ovation. It's like, I have questions.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing, is like I haven't done a joke with the accent in a few years, because it's just not me. And I think what I found out about that was people were laughing at the wrong thing. Like the accent is not the joke. The accent is just it's a character, right? So it does add to the element of the joke, but I don't think that, like, I never thought the accent was the joke, and I know people ended up thinking the accent was the joke because they would never say anything about the social commentary of the joke itself, or if it was something clever or if it connected things in the right way, they would always come up and be like, "That accent is great." And I was
yeah,
like, God damn it.
Because I actually have one where I talk about, well, I don't use it anymore because my wife said stop, but I talk about the initial meeting with my in-laws, the first time we met, and it was a rather rough scene with my mother-in-law climbing up my back trying to hit me. And my father-in-law, of course, he's running around screaming at the top of his lungs, "Let's all calm down." But when I first started doing that joke, I did the accent. But to me, they were laughing more at this big fat white guy doing an Indian accent than they were laughing at the fact that everybody's almost hysterical and he's hysterically yelling, "Calm down." So, which to me, being in a public place as it was, that was the joke.
Right. The chaos that's created in the situation.
Right.
That's all. Yeah, that's the funniest part about the whole thing. Is he just wants to have a good time with the dog.
Yep, it was fun.
Yeah, it's. I've been talking about a lot of the political divide that's been going on in the country. And my fiance's family, a majority of them are conservative. So that's not really like their politics should not align with mine, and I should not be someone that they should want to hang out with.
Right.
And I talk about her uncle, and that's the whole thing. Is like there is chaos created by this vaguely political conversation, and then him trying to come back, and he does redeem himself, and it's a story. It's this story of redemption is essentially how I look at it. But it is that moment of chaos that everybody kind of enjoys. Is like when everything erupts and we're like, what happened? Who said what? And how did we arrive here? Like,
yeah.
But in the moment, it's just like, I want to get out of chaos.
Yeah. You definitely want to leave that moment. And it's like, later on you can look back and say, okay, that was pretty funny. But,
right.
But when you're in the midst of it, it can be a nightmare.
Yeah, I was talking to her about we were in Columbus, we were hanging out with them, and she I think went to the basement or the restroom or something, and all this happened in like the time span of like 2-3 minutes, and it like blew up, and her uncle goes out in the garage, saying some political things, and then he came back to kind of be like, oh no, I messed up. Because I said something really ignorant, and he kind of makes he makes a really crass joke as a way to kind of break the ice of break the tension, right? And it's like, to me, it's like I get what he was trying to do, and I don't fault him for trying to do it because he's a sweet guy. And I was telling her about it, and she goes, "Man, I can't believe I missed that." And I was like, I don't know, man. Like it seemed to kind of disturb your aunt and your cousin a little bit. Like your aunt and cousin were pretty disturbed and embarrassed by this whole situation. And she was just like, man, that's one of the funniest things I've heard. And it took me, it took me a little while. I don't think I'm one of those comics that can experience something that day and then just immediately put it on stage.
Yeah,
it takes me a couple of days to like process it and figure out what I need to do. So eventually, like, I did ask her. I was like, "Can I do this thing? Can I tell that story on stage? Because I feel like it's important to kind of know that like just because he's conservative doesn't mean he's a bad person. Because I think that's the whole point of this story. And there is the element of chaos that I think everybody experiences."
Yeah. See, all that happened to me before I actually started going up on stage. That was before I started on this comedy path. So, but it was still there. It was still fresh in my mind.
It's an experience that doesn't leave you, right?
Oh no, that one does not. Now, of course, coming out of that after we finally got out of the situation and got away from it, of course, my wife's really upset, and she looks at me. She's like, "I'm kind of surprised you're still here," and I just kind of chuckled and I said, "Well, it's nothing worse than some of my family reunions have been." My dad's side of the family's from the hills in Tennessee. We've been through some odd ones. So, I one time my grandfather ended up in the hospital because one of his nephews broke several of his ribs over a barmaid. So, so you never know what's going to happen when family's involved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Family drama, I feel like is that's the thing is, I feel like if you can take those personal moments and try to apply some sort of bigger lesson to them, I think it's easier for people to swallow political comedy or any like idea-based comedy that sort of has a belief system attached to it, because they lived it, right?
Right.
But the beliefs and these ideas and the realm of politics seems so much larger. But kind of relating it to the human experience of, like, family drama or relationship drama or what have you, if you can tie that back, and that's hard in and of itself, and
Yeah. Well, those are universal truths as far as the family drama. Everybody is going to run into those.
Nobody comes out and is just like, "Oh, my family's great. We've never fought." That person is a liar.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Or needs to go see a therapist about unlocking some things in their head.
Yeah, because they've blocked a lot out.
Yeah. There's some memories that are being kept secret by your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to have to do the comedy rundown and take a little break. Are you going to stick around on the phone with us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because it's going to be silent for a few minutes while I'm on break because I got to run down the hallway. But we'll keep you on the phone with us for afterward.
Sounds like a plan.
Hey everybody, this is Mike Shea, and it's time for the weekly Wiley's Comedy Rundown, brought to you by Wiley's Comedy Joint in Dayton's historic Oregon District. Friday and Saturday, comedian Jeff Oskey will be jumping on the Wiley stage for 3 awesome shows at 8 p.m., 7:15 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, April 6th and 7th. Tickets are only $10. And of course, Sunday, it's time for the Wiley Sunday Comics, the very best in local comedy, jumping on stage at 8 p.m. Tickets for that are only $5. And don't forget that Wednesday, April 11th, starts the World Series of Comedy going on at Wiley's every day at 7:15 p.m. and 9:45 p.m., April 11th through April 14th. That's what's going on in your Dayton comedy scene. For more information, please go to wileyscomedy.com/calendar for more tickets and showtime information.
Looks like we've got a mystery on our hands, folks. Mike Shea, along with Eventide Entertainment and the Neon Movie Theater, will be premiering his newest short film, Monarch, a neo-noir detective mystery set right here in the Gem City, Dayton, Ohio. The event will be held on Thursday, May 17th at 7:30 p.m., and you can be a part of the process. Just go to www.gofundme.com/Monarch Film Premiere, and you can donate to make this one real night to remember. Lots of rewards and gifts for those who donate, including free tickets, concessions, posters, and movie downloads. Tickets are only $5 and can be picked up at the Neon box office. Mark your calendars for May 17th. It's a night with the detective, and you don't want to miss it. The weekend is over. Monday is here, but that doesn't have to be the end of your fun. Every week, Ellison Smith brings you a new episode of Saltwater Gaming, breaking down video games of all different genres, consoles, platforms, and eras. Get it all every Monday on Saltwater Gaming, brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
All right. I'll tell you what to do. Go that way, really fast. If something gets in your way, turn.
All right, we are back on the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith. Krish Mohan, are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
Hey, he's still with us. We survived the break all intact. Sitting in my guest co-host, the magnificent. I'm just coming up with all kinds of words.
All right,
the magnificent Mike Shea.
Adjectives. You're describing words, kids.
Yes, and all lies too at that. So.
Oh yeah. Where is the truth?
Yeah, it is not on the Life Radio Show. So we were talking about family drama earlier, and we should probably get past that. So how do your parents feel about you doing stand-up comedy?
They're okay.
Really?
My mom's okay. I've never particularly had a very good relationship with my dad. It was a little hard, I think, when my mom realized that this was like a career choice, like this was like the full-time gig for me. She had a little bit of a hard time coping with that because, there's no paycheck every week, right? Like, it's not like you get paid every Friday or whatever. So that means that you have to travel around the country like a vagabond, living out of your car from time to time, and hope that you make enough money to pay your bills, which for the most part, you can. But now she's, it's been about 5 years since we had this conversation the last time, and just the last time it did not go well. But now she's like, oh, what city are you in? Where's your show? Is it a good part of town? Do you have a place to stay? Are there nice people at the show? Don't curse so much on stage.
Every mom has to throw that in.
Yeah, she doesn't. She's heard a couple of. She hasn't come to see me live in quite some time. And every time that I invite her to be like, hey, this is kind of a big deal show that I'm doing in Pittsburgh. Do you want to come to it? She's usually working or whatever, but every time she'll see my clips on YouTube that I throw up. But it's always just, hey, it's really good stuff. But there's a lot of cursing happening.
That's all. Sometimes it's necessary. In life and in comedy. Absolutely.
I was talking to somebody that was, they run this political advocacy group in, it's like a nationwide group, but they have a chapter in Cincinnati, and they were talking to me about, coming down and doing the show, and they were like, hey, some of the older people have a problem with a particular 4-letter word that starts with an F. And I was like, it's okay, I don't have to say it all that much. But there are certain times where saying that word has enough of an impact that the impact itself is funny, right? And that's what I'm looking for is it necessary to say that word? And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's the perfect word because it articulates the right feeling, the right mindset of what you were in when you wrote that bit, and you kind of want to communicate that with people, and there's no other substitution sometimes for that particular 4-letter word, and I know that it can get a little dicey for people, so I try to do my best not to overuse it and be a little bit more creative about it.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic word, though. It's so versatile.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Right. I think that's sort of the best part about that word is that it is versatile, and there are different ways that you can use it, and I think it's one of those words that has so many different contexts and so many different meanings to it.
Yeah, I still think we should be able to use it on the air, but the station manager doesn't approve of it.
Apparently, he doesn't like paying the fine.
Yeah, but sometimes it is the word you have to use, and I keep trying to explain that to my boss.
Right. Yeah.
He doesn't like it either, but
sometimes it's the perfect expression of frustration or excitement or shock. There's just so like walking out of the theater after watching a really good movie and just exclaiming that word. Sure, in a crowded movie theater, maybe don't say that word so much, because there might be children around.
Right.
But there might not be any other words to describe the film that you saw because it was that good.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a children's movie, it's even less appropriate.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you're walking out of a Disney movie, you should probably refrain from the 4-letter words.
Yeah, but it also might have been a really good children's movie.
That's true. Yep. Did you see that?
See, I work in television. I work at a news station, and so we're not allowed to say that word on the air, like with radio. But a lot of the anchors and reporters have been like, "Man, if I couldn't use that word off the air as many times as you wanted to say it on the air, we'd just go crazy."
Yeah. Right.
Well,
yeah.
Like I was telling Mike, I said it a couple times last night because where I work, they tried to make me go up on the roof during a tornado.
No,
so that is an appropriate use of that word.
That is, there is no other word. When somebody's saying, "Hey, go on the roof," during a tornado, I don't think, gee willikers is really going to cut it.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't
golly,
think
mister. Golly, mister, I really don't think I should.
Oh, goose feathers.
Right.
Yeah, some things just don't work as well.
Yeah, the cable substitutions aren't the right words for that at that point.
Well, when I first started performing comedy, I didn't use it very often. In fact, I had usually the fairly clean set.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time I finally got, I was in church. I went to church at the time. I finally got a group from church to go to one of my shows. And it was still the raunchiest open mic I've ever been to. My set was squeaky clean. There was one other guy that was fairly clean, and the rest of them were just, it was awful. So that oddly enough, they've never come to see me again.
That always happens whenever my mother comes to a show. When my mom comes to a show, everyone's deciding we're just gonna go full blue tonight.
Yeah.
So that I got to go home to my mom, and she's kind of like, "Well, that was interesting."
Well, my mom's used to it. So.
Yeah, my mom came to an open mic maybe 6-7 years ago, and it wasn't the best open mic. It was just the only night that she had off, and so I was like, "Why don't we go to this open mic?" And I was dating a girl at the time, and I was like, "Why don't we all go to this open mic? We'll all hang out for a little bit. I'll go do my set." And then we can go and like hang out and get, like a coffee or tea or whatever. And basically and I told my mom, don't sit up front because you're going to get picked on. And of course she sits right up front. So my mom and my then girlfriend so I'm up like fourth or fifth at that point. And there's four or five comics in front of me. And it's like the whole room is just like, can we make Krish's mom laugh? And my mom is an incredibly polite person, but she's not a big laugher. She's just never been like a big laugher. I've known my mom to have these big outbursts of laughter very few times in my life. So she's not laughing a lot, but there was always these moments where the comics would be like, "Well, gotta laugh out of Krish's mom. That's the end of my set." And wow, all right.
Yep, that's the measure.
Yeah, but I was also a pretty clean comic because you can't curse in high school, right?
Right. I mean, I did, but
I used to be the cleanest comedian in South Carolina
at that time, but
because I was doing high school shows. So I first 5 years doing stand up, I didn't curse at all because I hadn't written anything I could curse in because I knew I wasn't going to be allowed to say it. So I started. And a lot of the mics that I was doing were like coffee shop mics, so it was like all ages and. They would be like, if you're going to talk about some adult things or if you feel like you're going to say some certain words, just let people know when you're on stage, hey, this might get a little blue, blah, blah, blah. And I never felt like any of my stuff was doing that.
I do remember somebody told me that I should have given them a warning because I went on stage and I had this 6-minute rant about cereal commercials. I wrote this bit when I was 17 or something. It's still one of those bits where I'm like, that's really cool that I attacked advertising at age 17 and didn't even know that I was doing that. But I had this 6-minute rant about how cereal commercials don't teach children the right values, right? And I went off on it, and then at the end of my set, this person came up to me and they were like, it was just you didn't say anything bad or curse or anything. It was just aggressive, and if you're going to do that again, just let us know that you're going to be a little aggressive. So we,
wow.
It was very sweet. But yeah, I don't think I started cursing till I started coming out to comedy open mics, which are usually at dive bars,
Yeah, that'll do it to you for sure.
Yeah, because how else are you gonna? It's there's maybe 5 or 6 people watching you that are there for the open mic, but then you're contending with 7 or 8 people at a bar that are just there after work to have a drink before they head home, and here we are trying to do our jokes.
Yeah, disturbing their peace of mind.
Right. And so the only way that you can get their attention or get them to stop talking was sometimes you had to curse. So that's when I broke my streak of being this clean comic that was going to, do these kitchen little stories and all that kind of stuff. And then I kind of went back to it as I think I did it. I used to just tell a lot of stories. That's just what I'm, doing the long form type of stuff is just what I've been more comfortable doing. But I would tell these stories, and a majority of them there were no curse words in them. So for about 2 years, I think I was Pittsburgh's cleanest comic or something like that. Anytime that anybody would be booking a show or a fundraiser or something, and they would ask somebody to be like, "Hey, who's your who's the cleanest comic you know?" They would be like, "Oh, it's Krish. Krish is the cleanest comic we know."
Yeah, that's a good way to get shows, though.
Mm-hmm.
You do. You get shows, and it was a nice challenge to see how to keep audiences that are more used to just a shorter setup punch da-da, those kind of jokes. How do you keep them attentive and focused on stories and longer sets? When I first started, it was I built up my chops talking about the immigrant experience at coffee shops, and then eventually it's translating all of my little outsider fringy ideas into bar shows to VFWs and fundraisers. And then so it was building up to how do you talk to people in various different parts of the country, and staying true to who you are and doing the material that you want to do. So it's all of this stuff was escalating and building to doing the type of comedy that I'm doing now.
Yeah, that would be a challenge, especially the way a lot of things are in this country right now. That would be a challenge to get. It seems like more and more people that are less interested in another person's perspective or experience on things.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I've gotten a lot more conservatives and people on the right to come to the comedy show, and it's talking about somebody my fiance's uncle, who's a conservative, might say some things that he read in a magazine or something, and he's just kind of I read, so this must be the validating opinion because I read this in magazine XYZ. Because of that, they don't want to hear him out anymore, right? And
right.
to me, it's like the left, or the liberal side or whatever, ends up kind of getting upset because you're like, hey, these aren't bad people, and they want to label them as bad people.
It's easier that way.
It's very easy that way. Yeah, the complexity of the human condition is boiled down into one word.
Right. I think sometimes it just seems easier to dislike the person than to formulate a good argument to the idea.
Yeah,
so the shortcut is to
trickier.
Discredit the person. And I think that's a lot of where we are.
Which is in and of itself a fallacy, so it's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any value in doing that at all. I want to try to understand where people are coming from, and the real important thing is, why do you believe what you believe? That becomes very important for me, because to me, the way that I process all that information is through the lens of comedy, right? So why do I believe what I believe, and why is that important to me? And then if I can communicate that through the vehicle of comedy, it's things start to make sense. So that's what I want people to be able to do in general. I think that's the easiest thing, is like, why do you believe what you believe, and if you have a valid reason, and if there's some arguments against that, that's okay. You don't have to agree with them, but at least know that there are reasons why other people believe what they believe, and there can be this coexistence in the world. But yeah, the divide that we're in kind of doesn't allow you to ask those questions, and doesn't allow you to see and understand other people's perspectives. And I think I don't think that's productive at all.
No. Well, that's one of the things about the vehicle of comedy that you meant. That's one of the things, is it helps people let their guard down a little bit, so they can even accidentally let some other ideas slip in now and then.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. One of the most entertaining things for me is when my future father-in-law will come to see shows. Because I know we don't see eye to eye on everything, but we're pretty amicable about it, because nobody likes it when we're sitting at the dinner table screaming at each other, right?
Or completely silent. That's not good either.
That's not. Yeah, the polar opposites aren't really good. But it's always interesting when he comes to see me perform, or to see my fiance perform, because she's a musician. Because he'll always listen to certain things, and he'll be like, "Oh, you brought up this thing about immigration. I never thought about it that way."
Right.
So he might not particularly laugh, and in the comic's brain, it's like, "Oh no, he hates this, and he's having a real bad time." But if we're trying to bridge divides and use comedy to break down the barrier of sacred, and it's okay to laugh at some of these issues and find some hope within it. And somebody is like, "Oh, I never thought about it that way." They'll probably come back to see you again to see if they can process that joke, like process the humor behind what you're saying. But when it's a new thought that has never entered their head before, like of course they're going to take they're going to take a step back and be like, "Oh, well, that's interesting."
Yeah. Well, it's been great talking to you. We're about to have to take our top of the hour break and get our next guest in, but I'll definitely get a hold of you, and we'll try to get you to call back in before the show at South Park if you'd like.
Sounds like a plan. That sounds wonderful. Thank you for having me.
All right. Not a problem. Now, that's South Park Tavern at 1301 Wayne Avenue in Dayton. You're going to be there April 17th? 19th, April 19th. Let me write that down. That way I don't forget again. All right. April 19th, South Park Tavern. Krish Mohan, thanks a lot for calling in. It was great to get to talk to you for a little while.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Yep, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and take a little break at the top of the hour before the FCC complains that we're not taking enough breaks. So we will be back here shortly with Aaron Phillips sitting in the hot seat.
There's a reason they call them lazy Sundays. There's nothing better than sitting around and enjoying the comforts of a good book. But what book should that be? Well, every Sunday, Eventide brings you The Bookseller, hosted by Jessica Gillen. Each week, Jessica breaks down a different book and tells you everything you need to know before cracking it open and getting lost in a whole new world. Tune in every Sunday for The Bookseller with Jessica Gillen, brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
Pointed sticks? Oh, we want to learn how to defend ourselves against pointed sticks, do we? Getting all iron mighty, eh? Fresh fruit not good enough for you, eh? Oh. Well, I'll tell you something, my lad. When you're walking home tonight and some homicidal maniac comes after you with a bunch of Loganberries, don't come crying to me.
All right, we're back on the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith. My guest host for the week, the magnificent. Did I use magnificent?
You've used that one already.
I use that. The fantastic,
sure.
Mr. Fantastic, Mike Shea is sitting in as guest co-host this week, and we have switched over from Real Talk with Krish Mohan to Surreal Talk with Aaron Phillips.
Yeah, there's not a lot of real.
What's that? Not a lot of real.
Not a lot of real.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. We have to switch from real every now and then. It's so rare to have real conversation on the Life Radio Show that when it happens, sometimes we just have to switch back quickly. So glad you're here, Aaron. Thanks for.
It's great to be here. To be your reality, your unreality
My
check.
unreality
oh
check.
Man, things got too real.
It's our break from reality.
Yeah. So how have you been?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, you're still sporting the leather motorcycle jacket. That's
Oh, I'm gonna beat that dead horse till it's like 90 degrees.
Absolutely.
Just because I can shut it again. I wasn't able to wear it for like 4 years.
Yep. So how much in the challenge? You're part of the.
I think I don't know who all's even still doing it anymore. I think the
John
last man
quit.
standing.
Yeah,
I think Travis.
John Morris is on the record saying he's out.
Yeah.
But Travis is lifting weights, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm gaining all this muscle." So
it's not fair for him. He's gaining all the muscle, and that's keeping him from losing. Yeah, I understand.
It's a real problem. You ever get too swole? That's what's probably.
You ever just get too much muscle on you, boy? That's what
he's ripping his car door off. Yeah. It's like, here we go again.
The third one this week.
Yeah.
So you're looking fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep going. Don't worry about the rest of them dropping.
Oh no, I'm not. I was never.
Okay. Yeah. It was never about them.
The joke was that whoever loses would have to go perform on stage in a dress. They said. But everyone was like, well, it wouldn't really bother me. Not that
I was going to say
profess to do that, but it's like that's not the end of the world. Like I don't know, I could probably, I'd just do a regular set and
so never
not even shave,
right.
stubble. I would maybe even like smear on some makeup, but it'd be terrifying, folks. Visualize that at home.
I've seen you perform in a Superman onesie and with children's toys on stage. So you in a dress is really not that far-fetched.
It'll mess up my whole rhythm. I'll look ridiculous.
We can't have that.
But no, we were like, then what's the winner get? It's like, I don't know, the chance to dance with your daughter at their wedding. Maybe, or like, I don't know, see your feet, like that type of cool stuff. Like that's the true winning prize.
Get to live.
Yeah.
So how much have you lost so far? Did I already ask you that? I don't remember.
Oh, well.
I'm not even sure where I am.
It's different. There's different weights when I weigh at home, because I'll come sopping wet out of the shower, everybody. And then there's
fully clothed.
In
the Superman.
Yeah, I'll be in one of those old timey striped bathing suits. And now but I'm doing that kind of cheat clothing math where you're like, oh well, at the gym I got to wear shoes. They want you to wear shoes on the scale, which I've never heard before anywhere else. But they're like shoes, and obviously I'm going to be fully dressed, like my business suit. I mean workout clothes and workout shoes. Well, but I'm still trying. We'll take add 5 pounds off from that and a pound from gaining muscle.
If the weigh-in was in the locker room, you'd probably be the only one fully clothed.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that bothers me the most about the gym is all the swinging.
Exactly. No, we
swing low.
I have not.
Everybody hangs out.
I have not had the
pleasure. Over 70.
I have not had the pleasure of stumbling upon that, but I've heard some stories. That was when I first told people that I was going. One of those people that tells everybody, "Look what I'm doing."
I'm going to the gym, guys.
Yeah. Oh, no big deal.
Yep. Let me put this on Facebook.
Yeah.
Do you Facebook Live your entire workout routine?
No.
Just getting that heart rate up. Got to get that target heart rate, guys.
Talking about it.
Like and subscribe to this video if you want to see me do some pull-ups after this.
Talking about pull-ups has been clinically proven to do nothing.
Exactly, yeah.
But no, it's probably 17 or 18 pounds. It was 20, and it's fluctuated, and I'm trying to not check it every day because I was stressing out over that.
Yeah.
So
you can't check it every day.
Last time I checked we'll say it was 18.
Yeah, that'll ruin you if you check it all the time.
I'm a third of the way where I need to be.
About 10 years ago, I was cast in a movie that never got finished, and at the time I was like 340 pounds. I was the heaviest I'd ever been. And I was cast in this movie, and they told me what my costume would be. And I immediately, the next day after I found out I was definitely cast, it wasn't going to film till the summer, and this was like January, I went out and joined a gym. And between January and we started filming in August, I dropped from 340 to 225.
Wow.
I was in the gym.
Crap.
I was in the gym 6 hours a day.
Okay, well, there you go. Yeah.
My costume was a loincloth and a vest.
Oh, yeah.
Not a closed
you find
vest.
a way to lose that 100 pounds.
Yeah, not a closed vest, an open vest, just a leather vest.
Jeez.
I was basically.
And this movie somehow never got fifinished?
Never got finished. But no, I went from 340 pounds to about 225 and just around 6-8 months time.
You're like, and then when you're done, when you come back to film the movie, they're like, I did all this for nothing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's
there's
why
no other benefit to doing this.
That's why I gained it all back. It's like, well, if I'm not going to be in this movie,
bring on the Cheetos.
Yep, let's get this back quick. I ain't got time to mess around.
Yeah.
But no, when I was going to the gym all the time, I met. You ever watch Family Guy?
Yeah.
I met Herbert in real life.
No.
I met Mr. Herbert in real life.
Oh, man.
And I'm in the locker room, and this guy had to be like 75, and of course walking around free to the world as it were.
Yeah.
And he just comes up, and I hear this behind me. That's a nice gym bag.
Oh my God.
I'm like, and I'm out. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no,
You've ruined working out for me.
That just cracked me up. I was like, oh, it's Herbert.
I change in the bathroom, and I hope this doesn't gross people out. I do go straight home afterwards and shower, but I do not shower at the gym. I'm not. I've had too many close calls.
Yeah.
I've heard stories. One guy said he walked in, and you don't just burst into the gym like Kramer going into the apartment. You got it very carefully. Hello?
Yeah.
Unless that's what you want to see.
I just run right in.
Yeah. Hey, like, breaking news, everybody! But no, there was a guy
on Facebook Live.
Grandpa,
just in case.
There was a guy, and it's hard to act out over the radio, but he had his arms raised, standing with his legs out.
Jesus.
Underneath the hand dryer.
Why?
letting the glory of the hand dryer shine down upon him. Yeah.
He was like 80, so it was just like a windsock going.
Oh my God.
Well, see, I go to the Kettering Fitness Center, which is in my backyard.
They stopped letting him do that outside, so
I go to the Kettering Fitness Center, which is basically my backyard, so I never use the locker room. I walk to my house from the gym, so I never. Yeah.
Well, that would be a benefit.
That's yeah. You know, I always thought signing up for the actual gym membership would motivate me to go. It turns out I'm totally cool blowing $100 on and just not getting use out of it.
I'm a member of a gym right now. Yep. $30-$40 a month.
They still charge you whether you're there or not.
Absolutely. Yep. They don't skip a day.
No.
So I really plan to go back. I do.
It's going to get harder when it gets warmer.
It does that.
Because you'll tell your mind that, I'll just walk around outside, and it's great. No, you gotta. It's great to keep you on task,
and
especially me. Like,
I'll just walk around outside, and then you sit down on the lawn eating Cheetos.
It just, I mean, it takes me forever to get there during the day because I'll do other stuff, ADD, and talk myself out of it or anything. But when I am there, it is all business. I do work out. I'm not like
all business.
I'm walking. I'll do the walking track and the elliptical, and I'll maybe daintily go over to one weight machine because I'm so intimidated by those guys. I barely go. Travis has really helped me figure out the weights very much.
You don't grunt and make sure everybody knows you're lifting.
Oh, there are people. Oh my God, yeah, there are people. They make it
arm day today.
Yeah, loudly.
Yeah. I always love the ones that have to work out and lift looking into the mirror.
Yeah.
You are so in love with yourself in those weights, aren't you?
Anything I could avoid, I'd prefer there to be less mirrors.
Right, exactly. I don't want to look at any of this.
If I can see me, everyone else can see me.
Yeah, you can't hide behind the weights either.
No.
Especially when you first start out because you're wider than the weights are and you're not lifting as much. So, I mean, once you've been going for a while, you might drop down and you can hide behind one of the weights. But
I'm always so self-conscious at the gym. Like, I'm afraid that while I'm working out, people are going to be looking at me, judging me. Like, look at Fatty trying to not be fatty.
Yeah. Look at you.
You're trying so hard.
Yeah, good for you. Here's the cookie.
Well, the walking track.
You're doing it wrong, but good for you.
The walking track is great to mess your self-esteem up, to get just passed constantly by elderly women.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
And they're lapping me and trip them. Yeah. But
did that hurt, Edna?
I'm just glad to be, the lady said it didn't matter what lane you're using on the walking track as long as you're even there, so.
Mm-hmm.
I like to go the opposite direction as everybody.
Well, there's a guy that goes backwards. I've seen him.
Yeah. Well, where I used to go, they'd have directional signs. So where it's Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you'd go this way. And it's like, why? Are you wearing out a different part of the track?
Yeah.
Are you trying to keep it all even?
Yeah. Well, let's keep it different.
Yeah. Why don't we just go the same way the whole time?
We don't want
nobody
dips.
gets confused.
We go the British way today. We're going to be on the left side of the road.
Yes, today he's walking on the track. Today we're Australian. That was terrible.
My problem has always just been self-motivation. Is like, if I have someone to work out with, I'll do more. Mostly because I'll have that person saying like, "Come on, man!" Like, but if I go by myself, I will find any excuse to stop early or just not even go.
See, if I have a workout partner, I'm going to talk them into screwing off.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it. It's like, nope, let's go have a donut. That sounds a lot better.
Yeah. Especially the donut place you go to.
Hey, it's fantastic.
Those are some of the best donuts I've ever had.
I'd advertise for them, but they're not paying me.
Yeah, exactly. Get
Not
on
even
it.
paying you in donuts?
Actually, I'm kidding. I'll go ahead and say they hang flyers for Wiley's up when I ask them to. So, yeah, all bricks there in Englewood. It's a great donut shop there.
Ooh, they're great.
Oh, yeah.
I want donuts.
I haven't had one of those in a while.
Well, let me tell you where to go.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
No, I don't want to throw you off track.
Oh, I've learned too. I was immediately cutting everything out, and then if I did have like a slice of pizza or something, I'd freak out. And then I was like, no, it's okay. But you just gotta. What I've started doing is not monetizing, but I'm looking at calories on stuff and how much of your time it would take to work that off. And it's like, well, I could eat this, but that's one donut could be like.
Yeah, some people count calories. You'd think that's an hour on the treadmill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it would. Yeah, one donut would be one gym session. Really, I mean, so burst your bubble, but it can be done. But then you're just sort of breaking even too. Like
see, that's how my wife keeps from buying too much when she goes shopping. And she calculates how many hours she has to work for that thing, and it's like, nope, not worth it.
No, and that's helped me a lot. Is what I've started to do. But before, I'd be like, "Oh no, was there sugar in that? I'm gonna die!" Like I don't know, and you can't deny yourself. You can't cut everything out like that.
You have to have a break every now and then, even if you're doing fantastic like me. You have to take a break from eating healthy and just have.
That's why I like the no carb
diets. Don't go
diets.
have a donut because that might put you right over the edge.
Yeah,
that's why those no carb diets are so bad. It's like you can't just cut them out altogether because then your body's like, "Where's this thing that I've been missing?"
Right.
It drives you nuts. And then the next time you see a bowl of pasta, you're like, "I'm going to eat that whole damn thing."
I haven't missed pasta.
Really?
I still have had bread. I've had lighter bread. The thing I used to get all the time, and I don't really miss it though, is bagels, and they're the worst for you.
Oh
and
yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
But I would eat bagels. I would have 2 bagels probably for breakfast, and of course you put butter, sour, cream cheese, or jelly, or a bunch of other stuff on them. But I haven't missed pasta.
Deep fry my bagels.
Yeah.
Deep fry them with ketchup and mayonnaise and.
Well, I've been on this liver cleanse diet because my doctor was like, you've got fatty liver syndrome. Now there's 2 kinds of those. It could be alcoholic or non-alcoholic. I said, well, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, doc. Flip a coin with me, but it's like I cut out like red meat for the most part.
Yeah.
Which hurts, but it's like, but we encourage you to eat all the chicken, fish, and turkey you want. And I'm like, oh, you're hurting me.
Yeah.
I have to eat chicken? Oh,
That's
no.
terrible.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, I've cut out red, and once again, fish is great. I haven't really missed red meat. I mean, bacon with breakfast.
I don't eat a lot. Well, bacon's not really red meat.
Well, yeah. Oh, it's its own thing.
But bacon's just bacon. Bacon's its own food group.
It is. It also encouraged me to eat a lot of garlic, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's good for your heart, yeah.
Yeah, so.
I've been drinking red wine, a lot of red wine. That's supposed to be good for you. Good for the, never mind.
Now, I have to watch a lot of what I eat because I had gout several years ago, and that right there, you talk about something that will change your diet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's why I don't drink like I used to, because I used to drink way too much, and beer is one of the worst things for gout. And when I first developed gout, I don't think I drank a beer for a year and a half because I have never experienced a pain like that before. It's one of the worst things. It looked like I had a golf ball stuck to my big toe. That's how much it's swelled up. I couldn't wear a shoe. I was going to work.
Oh my God.
I took like a week off of work, and when I went back, I still couldn't put my work boots on. I had one steel-toed work boot on, and I had one slipper on the other side, just hoping that nobody would notice. Kept walking with a cane wearing a slipper. Well, it's like, yep, this will be fine.
No, I hadn't planned on getting gout, but said that I think I'll try not
don't.
To.
Yeah, because you wouldn't like it.
No,
I don't think stand-up comedy would be a lot more painful.
It's
already painful enough.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you're getting ready to do the shows back in the Oregon district. So.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
What is it named this time?
This time I'm going to call it the District After Dark comedy show. And we're going to do these on the first Friday of most months. Although June I'll be out of town, so it'll be the second Friday that month. But this coming Friday, April 6th, we'll be starting about 10 o'clock, and it's 440 East 6th Street, 5th Street. God. Aaron, you had one job. 440 East 5th Street, Dayton, Ohio, in the Oregon District. First Friday, Feathers Vintage Clothing out on the sidewalk. Random people come by. It can be mean. We had one guy hurt all our feelings last time. We all wanted to fight him.
Yeah, I know. I didn't do another show for 6 months after that.
Yeah. No, it just got too cold after that, too. But also we were very discouraged by one mean man. And that's not encouraged. We don't appreciate that. Keep your hurtful comments to yourself.
Yeah. Or at least make one and then move on.
That's the beauty of it.
Show.
Nobody's forcing you to sit through it. It's also like we're past the hat at the end, but it's pretty much free. And if you don't want to see, I love. If anything, it scares people away from the store. It's not good for the business at all because people will see it from down the block, cross the street, and go the other side of the street to avoid walking past it.
Yeah.
But the people that do come by do love it, and when it's good, it's great. And when it's terrible, it's terrible. It's like such as comedy. I feel like it's one of those. It's very unique. There aren't a lot of people that. It's something that as a comic, you need to try because it's kind of like being. It's kind of like when the Chapter was still doing shows. You never know what's going to happen, but there's a good chance
you're not going to like it.
R.I.P. the Chapter.
I mean, the show's going to be great because I'm sure you get good comics go up there.
Oh yes, I have a great cavalcade of performers, including.
Walk us through.
Yes. We'll go right through there. I'll probably start it off, but it's not about me. It's about the show. I got Olivia Burns, Nick Taylor, Scotty Mays, John Morris, Chris Karwalski, Eric Busio.
Well, I haven't seen Chris up in a while.
No.
Yeah, I was happy to get him. He's a funny guy. Eric Busio, running that show, Roamers, on Tuesdays in Dayton by UD. People know. Adrian Miller, who's done such a great job recording people's sets at Wiley's A to Z Media. Check that out. And I got new to me. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but he's young to me. Trevor Ginsburg, new guy. He's been at Hookah for a couple weeks. He was at Wiley's.
Yeah, he's been
2 weeks ago that I was on. I thought he crushed.
He's come to all these couple times too. He does a good job.
Trevor Ginsburg, and then closing it out, we got Travis Charles, local favorite. Gonna do some time. The last time I had him on, it was bad set in a row, and then he gets out there, and arguably, it just happened to be what he was talking about. He happened to say something about Asian people, and a group of Asian people came by, and I put my head in my hands like, oh no, and they loved it, and it was the biggest reaction of the night, and it was like 30 people, and after that, so we're gonna close it out with Travis this time. And I told him he doesn't have to make it all about that, but it didn't hurt before.
Yeah, we're not going to stop you.
Yeah. It was positive stuff too. It wasn't like he's like, this is why they need to leave. I don't know.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
He just does a screed, and they all walk by bemused. Like, look at this crazy man. I don't know.
That's a stacked lineup of people.
Yeah,
that is some
I'm
of the funniest people in Dayton right there.
I'm excited, and we got people coming. I know I have next month, May 4th, I have Amber Falter from Columbus so far, and probably TBA for more people for that show. And I'm just excited. The warmer it gets, Fridays and Saturdays are the busiest nights in the Oregon District, and First Fridays are the busiest Fridays.
Because you were doing these Saturdays.
Yeah, and I was doing them inside, and you just have people walk by wondering, like, what the hell's that? And not come in. And
right.
And I talked about it all last year.
Yeah, it's a wasted opportunity. So.
Yeah. I talked about it all last year. Like, man, I should do these out front. When I did the first one was so good. We had Rand Barnacle from Cincinnati close it out. And it was just, he did like 25 minutes at the end, just crowd work of people walking by. Just every person that came by. What are you, the two most handsome people on the street? Get out of here, you psychos. But it was apparently one of the other comics from Cincinnati saw this. During his set, these guys were coming out of Ned Pepper's, which is the bar right across the street, which is like the hip-hop bar. It's packed, and I bet those people aren't down there for comedy, but you'll be it's your opportunity to win them over. And this guy comes out, and this is literally what he said. Man, he funny as hell, and just kind of ready to yell. I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Right.
I realized where I was. I was like, I probably shouldn't shout that into the microphone.
Yeah, well, we talked about that in the last hour about how great that word is.
Yes,
but they still won't let us say it on the air, which I'm just disappointed. I mean, I thought this was America. Yeah, I thought we were more open-minded than that here, but no, apparently we have to not say that word.
Well, and here's another thing: the show starting at 10, probably go to about midnight, and I know there's only one show on Fridays at Wiley's, so if you're down for the Wiley show early, come out afterwards, after the show, and it won't, like, conflict. That was the other thing. I always felt bad having it on Saturdays before, because it would kind of end at the same time Wiley's second show would just, or we'd both be starting at the same time, and I'm like, why did I do that? So, completely come down if you like Wiley's, and if you're ready for more comedy after the show.
You ain't got to go far.
Yeah, right around
literally turn around and go across the street. You'll hear the sound of the people when you leave Wiley's. It's literally almost right across the road.
There you go.
440 East 5th Street, Dayton, Ohio.
All right, we're going to have to take another break. It's right here at the half a hour, and yeah, I think it's time for break.
Yeah,
because I just forgot where I was for a second. It happens, and we will be back here shortly with the. I'm going to try to think of another
Who's the current president, Don?
Yep, I don't even know. We'll be back to this thing I do on here where I talk into this thing that's pointed at me, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
If there's one thing that's true about wrestling fans, it's how much they like to talk about wrestling. Join Aaron Lopez and Ben Norsworthy for the Top Rope Wrestling Podcast.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Tune in every episode and be ringside as these two break down all of the big matches in the world of professional wrestling. brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
All right, we are back on the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith, sitting in with my fantabulous co-host, guest co-host.
You're just putting them all together. There
yeah,
you go.
if I keep using too many of them. Mike Shea sitting in the guest co-pilot seat.
Woo!
And we're sitting in still with Aaron Phillips, who was regaling us with tales of his comedy life during the break, performing at a cat cafe.
Oh, yeah,
I have to know, were you performing for the cats?
It was a hold on, I'll find out.
Was it mixed audience?
It was a charity. It was a charity event to raise money for the cat cafe. Now, a cat cafe, this particular one, half of it was like a coffee shop, and then there was a wall built up, and it was like a daycare center room, nursery room almost, that you would walk into, and it'd be full of furniture and stuff full of cats. There would be 10 or 12 cats in this room, and you could sit and play with the cats and pet the cats for a fee. You donated a fee.
Oh, okay. They didn't charge you. It was a donation.
A donation to play with these cats, and all the cats were available for adoption. And
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. That's nice.
And
if you like that kind of thing.
It was sold out. I mean, and I guess I was amazed how many people they had. They had like 45 people in there to watch.
A comedy fundraiser for cats.
Yeah. And the cats were separate in their own little room. They did not, because I didn't have any jokes for the cats.
Oh, okay. You didn't have any feline
dogs, am
material.
I right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, what's the deal with dogs?
I tell you.
Yeah, this is a tough crowd. I'll tell you, my cat. Yeah. Oh, I got no respect for my cat. Oh, that's just bad. But how did the show go? I mean, I know, were the cats, they were in the other room, so were they just scratching to get in? And
Yeah, they were watching through the window looking sad. No. It was great to see who all was on that show. I rode over there with Dan Seabree and Amber Falter from Columbus, and the headliner was DJ Dangler, who's one of my favorites from
I haven't
Indy
seen him in a while.
and around Indy. He's from all over now, but he calls Indy home, and fun stuff.
Yeah, I'd never heard of doing a show at a cat cafe.
I was asked the night before, and
because a cat cafe is kind of a newer thing. There was,
Dayton just got one.
Dayton just
got
one.
We are on the ball.
Yeah, I smell a show.
I mean,
first beer wagons, now cat cafes.
Yeah.
What is next?
Some
beer
sort of cat propelled beer wagon.
Where it's the little bar on a trailer,
pedal around.
Yeah,
through that's
$500.
What?
$500
for how many people?
It's just $500, and the more people you get, the cheaper it is for you. But it's $500 to do the beer wagon
so
tour.
Not worth it.
I heard a story once.
I mean, I just get in my car and drive drunk. It's the same thing.
That once they took it through the drive-through at Arby's downtown.
What? Oh, they took the beer.
Those
pedal
poor
wagon?
Arby's employees.
That's
Like,
hilarious.
Oh man!
Can I take your order?
That's a big order.
I would say so.
Shrieking bachelorette party, all trying to decide whether they want curly fries or waffle fries. Just yelling.
What we need to set up is we need to build a wagon very similar to it, and it will be a rolling comedy show.
Yes.
Wow.
That will follow that beer wagon.
Get a mic and a cheap guitar amp, and
everywhere they go, just follow right along behind them.
Can it just be one of those 2-man hand cars from a train?
That's
with a brick wall on the back.
Vaudevillian mustaches. What's up with Cole?
The hand crank is just that makes it even better because the visual on that's perfect.
Oh man!
And we don't get. They have like a beer tap on that thing. The two guys on the hand cart, I don't know why I'm assuming they'd be guys, would have those foam dome hats with the beer cans and the straws.
Well, everybody'd have them, except you have to take it off to do the show. Because, if it's your turn, would it be an open mic where people just have to run along and hop on?
It's also an endurance test.
I've seen them. I forget who did it, but I've seen some comic did a special, or maybe just like 15 minutes on a party bus, on like a stripper
party
bus, and they had a megaphone, and they were like a PA system on the bus, like over here's the tour. But it would just be, he'd be doing his bits and people could hear it out on the sidewalk and they'd be going through this crowded area and he'd be like roasting people he saw on the sidewalk driving by. I mean, we thought about doing, I mean, that's what the Feather Show is going to be, but we'll be in one spot. I mean, there'll be people coming by and
everything except
it's on
the
table.
mobility. Yeah.
I mean, it's probably,
we need a flatbed trailer and a truck.
Yeah.
That's all you need. Feathers on the road.
Just like AC/DC playing the bagpipes. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Man, so many good ideas
We're
are born
here
on this show. I still like the hand crank. Do we need to hit some news stories? Is it time for some news stories?
Sure.
I always love some news stories.
Yeah, we didn't get to them the last
We didn't,
hour.
no.
All that realness.
Yeah, that got real quick.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll start on some news stories then. A 24-foot tall animatronic dinosaur, which is the best way to start, at a Colorado attraction burst into flames last week in a fiery scene that was caught on video. No one was injured when the Tyrannosaurus Rex at the Royal Gorge Dinosaur Experience in Cannon City caught fire on Thursday. On Facebook, the company said, quote, "Holy smokes, we always knew T-Rex had a bad temper, but today he blew his top. There was an unfortunate electrical issue, and our mighty T-Rex is no longer. You might even say extinct." I don't need to read the whole statement because it's all more silliness. But it says the utmost importance, we assure everyone that we are perfectly safe, if you don't count all the exploding dinosaurs.
I love how their official statement sounded like someone putting together their tight five.
Yeah, I was going to say. Owner of Dinosaur Park, comedy genius. That's the headline.
Taking this to the comedy store.
What do you guys think? I need some notes.
All it cost me was a 24-foot tall animatronic.
My master plan to blow up my dinosaur park just for the jokes.
Just for 5 minutes set. That's all I need. I got an open mic next week.
Thank you.
What they don't know is
let's light
actually,
this sucker.
That was actually they were shooting the next Jurassic World when that happened. So it's going to be
there you go. Yeah.
Directed by Michael Bay this time.
Gotcha. Yeah. Exploding dinosaurs. What will they think of next?
We don't know. We weren't there. Maybe that's how it happened. Maybe they just went.
It probably made the place that much more exciting.
Yeah.
It really, how Royal Gorge Dinosaur Experience. Does that really sound all that exciting?
It sounds like some
it sounds
high school rock band from the 80s.
We gotta spice this up. Every 12th
dinosaur experience.
Every 12th dinosaur has a landmine hidden inside of it. Come on down. You don't know what'll happen.
Yeah, we're going crazy.
C4. Stop by the gift shop.
If you dare.
Or else.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The dinosaurs are extinct, and soon you will be too.
I'm going. That's my next road trip. Let's go. Skip your festival next week. We're heading to Royal Gorge Dinosaur Experience.
Yeah.
Where is this at?
Apparently, it's in Cannon City, Colorado.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Oh yeah, it's Colorado. It probably was C4. Okay, but let's hop down. We'll skip this next one for the time being. We'll hop down to since we just covered T-Rex. A new Godzilla statue stomped its way into Tokyo on Thursday. The statue, which replaces a previous version installed in 1995, depicts Shin Godzilla from the film of the same name that was released in 2016. According to Kyoto News, the new statue includes its platform measures 3 meters, so almost 10 foot high. Not quite as big as the exploding T-Rex. It may not be towering enough to really strike fear into the hearts of those who show up to view it, but it's the thought that counts. Located in an area aptly named, Hibiya, I don't know, Godzilla Square. The new Godzilla is inscribed with a quote from the 2016 film that reads, "The human race must coexist with Godzilla." That's so not as exciting as an exploding T-Rex, apparently. See, the mind went to other places it's the fire, I think, is what does it.
They tore down there was a previous Godzilla statue there, and they're like, boring.
Yeah,
what they do, like, when they update it, he's got like sunglasses on. Yeah,
well, as probably the only guy in the room who's actually seen the Godzilla movie they're referring to, it is an ugly Godzilla. Like, they made his arms like T-Rex size and made his tail like 5 times as long as his actual body, and he just looks like a zombie. Like, his ribs are showing, and we need to. This will look great in public. This won't scare children.
Deadzilla.
It looks like zombie Godzilla. So I don't know.
That's the next great movie.
I'll watch it.
We birthed another one.
Something comes along big as him and bites into his neck, and like, oh my God, what was that? Like, nobody even mentions what that other zombie thing was.
Right.
Now God. And you thought he was pissed before.
They got to deal with zombie Godzilla first, then they'll find out why he was changed into a zombie.
Before he just wanted to eat you whole, now he just wants your brain. That's a consolation.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want your brain. Don't worry.
But
you have the rest.
a lot more oven.
Yeah.
It's Godzilla. He's got an appetite. But yeah, the original one was from 95. It was put up in 19, so it was only 11 years old. Apparently, they don't have Godzilla statues don't have much of a life cycle there in Tokyo.
Brings back too many memories. It's just
somebody dressed as a giant moth and tore the other one down.
These movies are dumb.
Matthew Broderick showed up and was like, "That's a lot of fish."
No. Your laser. I don't remember that damn thing.
Unfortunately, I don't. So we'll never watched the old Godzilla movies. Yes, but I've never watched any of the new ones.
The one that came out in like 2014 was pretty good.
The one with Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. The Matthew Broderick one was hot garbage, but.
Matthew Broderick
that's
wears
Matthew
a Kangol hat. That's the movie. That's like the plot synopsis. Like, and runs around.
That's a Matthew Broderick.
Leon the Professional takes down Godzilla. I mean, sounds great on paper, but
it wasn't in a boxing fight,
right?
Yeah, no, we reported on this last week a little bit about a man, a dead man that was trying to get his paperwork together. Days after one Romanian court told a man he was officially dead despite evidence to the contrary, another court has declared that man who was truly dead could still get his driver's license back. A court in the northern city of Iasi, I don't know, it's so many words, Thursday confirmed that Valerian Velosu should have his license returned and be reimbursed a fine he paid for speeding. Which, I mean, how can you speed when you're dead? He was fined and temporarily lost his license in March 2017, but appealed the punishment in court and won an interim ruling. He died in October before the ruling was final. So he was caught speeding, then died, and they're going to reimburse the fine and reinstate his license even though he died.
And that will bring him back to life.
I guess so. Well, he can drive. Yeah, he can drive again. So
arrested for driving while dead.
A local lawyer, traffic law specialist, told Media Facts Agency that quote, cases like this may seem odd or even sinister, and blamed a legal void. So not really sinister. I mean, it's just kind of strange. It's like, why would you give a license?
When you first read the story, it made it sound like they were telling a guy in court, "Sir, we find you legally dead."
Well, that's what happened to a guy last week.
That's right.
He was trying to get back in.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm alive.
Wasn't the same guy.
He got
been really weird.
He got deported to his home country he hadn't been to for a long time, where he found out that he was legally dead because his wife reported him dead.
Oh wow!
Like 5 years before.
Oh wow!
So yeah, that's
objection, Your Honor. I'm alive. Overruled,
yeah,
sir. You
I'm
are
sorry.
not.
This paperwork here says other. Yeah.
Call that a life?
Maybe he was a comic. I'm kidding. We're all very much alive. It just goes on and on.
Unfortunately.
I have to go over this one. This may be the last one, depending on the conversation. We may do another one. A Mississippi city has denied a proposal for a church by a man named Father Jesus.
Awesome.
Saying he failed to have a professional engineer draw up the plans. Jesus said as in Father Jesus, the man, not Jesus, Jesus. Jesus said the church he's calling Saints of the Most High wouldn't be very big, just about 12 feet by 24 feet, not very high. And he'd begin with just 3 members. The Sun Herald of Biloxi reports that area residents question what Jesus stands for during a Gulfport Planning Commission meeting on Thursday. Jesus reportedly said he's been diagnosed as paranoid schizophrenic and changed his name to Father Jesus after a revelation that he embodies the Spirit of Christ.
Oh, good for him.
So,
it's good to have a goal.
Yes.
You know, he knows he knows his lot in life.
If you're going to start a church, why not just officially change your name to Father Jesus?
It'll give people some peace of mind, you know.
Yes. Yeah. So Jesus is his last name. So
Do we need another church? This one's being run by a man named Jesus. Okay, I'll give it a shot.
He's probably got something to say.
It's on my driver's license.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really him.
Sorry, you missed it. There's a fellow walking by the window that looked extraordinarily like Jesus as we were talking about this. So,
Jesus,
that could have been a sign for us to stop. But I'm saying that it's a sign that we're on the right track.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, 12 by 24 feet is not.
That's
very, very much for the most Church of the Most High.
No.
Unless, is that like a contest? Nope, we're the Most High.
Church of the Moster High.
Yeah, we're mostest high.
Church out in Colorado. Trust me, we're the most high.
Well, that's in Mississippi. So,
it's okay.
Yeah,
well,
good for them.
Yeah, good for them. It's your answer to everything, Aaron.
Jesus.
Good for them. They're
that's the
most
northern
high.
equivalent of bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
I know what
Jesus
that means,
heart.
man.
Mr.
I know.
Jesus, it's please. My father was Father Jesus. Call me Mr. Jesus.
Oh, I don't even know if I should touch on the next one. It's a, yeah, why not? This will be the last one because after this story, they'll probably cut the feed. An event in Kawasaki, Japan, aroused lots of interest last weekend. Of course, that's to be expected with a festival dedicated to the male sex organ.
Huzzah!
Kanamara Matsuri, a.k.a. the Festival of the Steel Phallus, has been a spring tradition since 1969. Of course it has. The Phallic Festival is a spiritual event celebrating both the penis and fertility, held annually. Of course, you're going,
held annually.
Held annually on the first Sunday of April. So this was Penis Festival during Easter and April Fool's Day. So that's a three-way. That's a three-way of a festival if I ever heard of one.
Best Easter.
Yeah. Held on the first Sunday of April.
You see, he's talking about something else.
Right. It's a thing.
Don't care.
Anyway, participants parade gigantic phallic-shaped mikoshi, or portable Shinto shrines, suck on penis-shaped lollipops, and pose with sex organ-shaped sculptures, and get their hands on whatever penis-shaped souvenirs they can grab.
So basically, it's every bachelorette party ever.
But for religious reasons. They're very devout. Just for religious reasons.
It's all in the name of
Father Jesus.
I wasn't gonna say it. Yep, and that is officially, this is the last episode of the Life Radio Show. I want to thank you guys for being a part of it.
Every episode I'm on is the last episode. I'm starting to think it's me.
It could be. It snows every time you come in.
It's
like I said, I'm going to have you on in June, and if it snows, we're going to know that you are the problem.
Then I'm just not allowed back.
You're Storm from the X-Men.
So I think that's the show for the day. And
thank you.
Aaron Phillips, thanks for coming in. Get out Friday, April 6th at 10 o'clock at night for the, what's the name of it?
District After Dark Comedy
The District After Dark Comedy Show at the Dayton's Oregon District. Put on by the mayor of the Oregon District himself.
Pretty easy to find. There'll be the one platform with the plastic sign that says comedy on it. I'll be spinning that like a car wash sign. Thank you.
It's the comedy show happening on the sidewalk. You can't
like you're
miss
buying
it.
gold. You'll be spinning that around. So.
Cash for gold.
Which, probably won't be nearly as successful as the comedy show. Well, thanks for coming in, Aaron. It's always a pleasure to have you. Great job, Mike. As I
worked so hard.
The unbelievable.
Oh, there you
Mike
go. You found
Shea.
another one.
Yes. Well, I haven't believed a word you said. But thanks for coming in. That's I think that's our time, fellas. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Be sure to tune in next week for another fun-filled adventure of the Life Radio Show. Thanks for listening. This has been the Life Radio Show on WWSU 106.9 with your host, Don Smith. The Life is also available in podcast form on iTunes, PodBean, Stitcher, Spreaker, Blueberry, and YouTube, as well as on Eventide Entertainment's podcast network. Be sure to like the Life Radio Show on Facebook, and if you have any comments or suggestions, email thelife1069@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Now get out there and enjoy some live comedy this week. You can check out wileyscomedy.com for all your upcoming shows.
The brutal presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.